All right, friend, let's cut to the chase. After 3 decades without a Super Bowl, the biggest question for Cowboys fans heading into this season is simple. Will Matt Eberflus's defense be the missing piece for a championship? We've all heard it. No more excuses for Dak. No more blaming injuries or flukes. But underneath it all, the truth is this team needs a serious defense rebuild to even sniff the Super Bowl. Last offseason, the talk was all about revamping the offensive and defensive lines. And while the offense got some attention, the defense is where your hope lies. Enter Matt Eberflus, the former Colts coordinator who keyed Indianapolis's defense for years, and last year took over in Chicago. Now he's in Dallas, and opinions are flying. Some believe he's the answer. Others are skeptical. Now here's where you come in. Do you think Eberflus can finally give us that stingy, fearsome defense we've lacked since the Tony Romo days? Let me know in the comments section. Yes or no? And hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, we're so close to 15,000 fans. Help us get there so we can keep breaking down every angle for you. Because I've been digging deep, watching film, comparing numbers. Listening to local radio takes like the guys on 105.3. I've read Blogging the Boys and even scoured Reddit threads. There's a lot to unpack, and in this series, we're doing it chapter by chapter, from his track record to scheme, strengths, weaknesses, and ultimately, our final verdict. So, buckle up, because first we're going to dig into Eberflus's track record across Indy and Chicago, how his defenses played, and what lessons Dallas needs to take from that. But before we dive in, don't forget to drop your vote. Do you trust Eberflus to hold the line in Dallas this year? Yes or no? Comment now. And if you're feeling this breakdown, hit like. It really helps the channel grow. All right, let's dive deeper into why so many fans are split on Matt Eberflus. To figure out if he's the guy to lead the Cowboys defense to a championship, we've got to look at his track record, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First stop, Indianapolis. Back in 2018, Eberflus took over a Colts defense that had been bottom 5 in most metrics. In just 1 year, he turned them into a top 10 unit in scoring defense and total takeaways. His Indy squads were known for speed, gang tackling, and a bend-but-don't-break style that forced turnovers at key moments. It wasn't always pretty, but it worked, especially with studs like Darius Leonard roaming the field. But let's be honest, the big question is whether that success was more about the roster than the scheme. When the talent dropped off, so did the results. In 2021, the Colts' defense crumbled late in the season, blowing a playoff spot against the lowly Jaguars. Sound familiar, Cowboys fans? We know that heartbreak too well. Then came Chicago. Eberflus jumped up to head coach in 2022, inheriting a mess. He tried to keep his defensive principles alive, but the Bears' lack of pass rush and a revolving door at linebacker made his scheme look soft. They finished near the bottom in sacks, pressures, and run defense 2 years in a row. That's the part that worries people. So what's the takeaway? Eberflus has shown he can build a disciplined, opportunistic defense if he's got the horses. Without difference makers up front and at linebacker, his system can look like Swiss cheese, especially against power run teams. So here's your day question for the comments today. Which version of Eberflus do you think we're going to get in Dallas? The Colts mastermind or the Bears punching bag? Drop your answer below. And if you appreciate this kind of deep dive, don't forget to smash that like button. It really does help more Cowboys fans find us. Now that we've seen what Eberflus did in Indy and Chicago, let's talk about what actually makes his defense his. What is the Eberflus blueprint, and will it click with the Cowboys roster? At its core, Matt Eberflus runs a variation of the Tampa 2. It's all about speed, discipline, and swarming to the football. The idea is simple. Keep everything in front, rally and tackle, force turnovers, and never let a big play break your back. Sounds solid, right? But here's the catch. It relies heavily on front 4 pressure. If your D-line can't win one-on-one matchups, that soft zone coverage behind it starts to look, well, really soft. This is why so many folks are both excited and nervous about the Cowboys adopting this style. On one hand, Dallas has the horses up front. Micah Parsons is basically built in a lab to terrorize quarterbacks. Add in DeMarcus Lawrence, Osa Odigizua, and the young pass rushers waiting in the wings, and you've got a unit that should thrive with their ears pinned back. But here's the flip side. The linebacker play in an Eberflus defense is huge. His scheme needs rangy, disciplined linebackers who can drop into coverage, sniff out screens, and flow, sideline to sideline. Remember how Darius Leonard made that Colts defense hum? That's what Eberflus wants. So, can Leighton Vander Esch stay healthy? Will Damone Clark or DeMarvion Overshown step up? And what about the run defense? Eberflus's scheme has struggled in the past against power run teams, exactly the type that gave Dallas headaches last year. And let's not forget the secondary. Playing that cover 2 requires communication and instinct. Guys like Trevon Diggs and Darren Bland thrive on jumping routes, but they'll need discipline to avoid giving up chunk plays over the top. So, the blueprint is there. Speed, discipline, turnovers, but it all hinges on execution and, honestly, a bit of luck with injuries. So, what do you think? Does this scheme fit our talent, or is it going to be a square peg in a round hole? Hit the comments and let me know. Up next, we'll talk about the biggest question mark. Can Eberflus fix our run-all-right Cowboys nation? Let's get real for a second. The elephant in the room for years has been our run defense. Doesn't matter if it's Mike Nolan, Dan Quinn, or now Matt Eberflus. Stopping the run has been our Achilles heel when it matters most. So, can Eberflus really fix it? If you look at his track record, it's a mixed bag. During his best years with the Colts, Indy was solid against the run, top 10 some seasons. They weren't shutting down Derrick Henry every week, but they played gap-sound football, tackled well, and didn't get gashed for 200 yards on the ground. But in Chicago, it was a different story. Eberflus Bears have been near the bottom of the league in run defense. Some of that is talent, sure, but it does make you wonder. His philosophy relies on discipline and effort. Everyone maintaining their gap integrity, everyone pursuing to the ball. There's no magic trick. The Cowboys will need big guys like Maisie Smith and Jonathan Hankins to eat up blocks inside, freeing up the linebackers to flow cleanly to the ball carrier. If your front gets blown off the line, the whole thing crumbles. The good news? The pieces are there. Micah's disruptive ability helps on the edge. Osa has shown flashes inside. And if Maisie takes that year 2 leap, the Cowboys might finally have the stout interior they've been missing since, what, the Jay Ratliff days? But discipline will be key. How many times last year did you see an edge crash too far inside, or a linebacker over-pursue and leave a cutback lane wide open? That's what Eberflus has to drill out of this unit. Fundamentals, every snap. So, can he do it? History says maybe. Talent says yes. But it's going to take buy-in from every single defender to plug that hole once and for all. And if they do, this defense goes from good to downright terrifying. All right, Cowboys Nation, moment of truth. We've talked about Eberflus's scheme, his track record, and how he could shore up that run defense. But let's answer the big question. Is Matt Eberflus the guy who finally helps Dallas hoist that Lombardi again? First off, let's get one thing straight. Eberflus isn't coming in with some magic potion. He's not reinventing the wheel. What he does bring is a renewed commitment to discipline, fundamentals, and consistency. All things the Cowboys have lacked in the biggest moments. Under Dan Quinn, this unit was explosive, but sometimes undisciplined, especially when the game got tight. Eberflus's system is built to survive those tight moments. He wants players in position, reading keys, rallying to the ball. No hero ball, no freelancing. It's the kind of defense that, when the offense sputters, keeps you in games. But let's be real. Even the best DC can't do it alone. The pass rush still has to show up in the playoffs. The linebackers have to read and react, not overrun plays. And the offense, yes, Dak, we're looking at you, can't disappear in crunch time. A disciplined, bend but don't break defense is great, but you still need points. The good news? Eberflus does fit. The Cowboys' DNA. He wants effort, he wants accountability, and he's not afraid to make tough calls, benching guys who don't buy in. That's what this defense might have needed when it got gashed by the Niners last postseason. So is he the missing piece? Maybe not the piece, but a piece? Absolutely. If the players respond to his style, if they fix the run D, and if they keep that pass rush humming, there's no reason this defense can't be the best in the league. And let's face it, a top tier. Defense gives you a shot every single week. Maybe, just maybe, Eberflus's steady hand is the difference between another heartbreak and that fifth ring. All right, Cowboys fans, now it's your turn. What do you think? Is Eberflus the right guy? Drop your takes in the comments and let's talk about it.